welcome in today. How was your drive in today?
Traffic always sucks.
Sorry
Right.
about that.
Yeah.
How are you liking the change in the weather?
Oh man, these 100-degree days, I'm glad they're gone, and you know the humidity's calmed down. So I love fall. Changing the weather's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So second time coming in. How you feel about coming in today?
I mean, I took what you said about communicating more and how we go about communicating.
Okay.
You know, it's when I wasn't communicating enough with him, and my grandmother, you know, he guilt tripped me into it, and then when I show up and I communicate, he acts like he doesn't even want me there.
Yeah.
Just thinks I'm there for money, and it's like, man, I don't need your money or whatever. And I mean, it seems like it's more of the same stuff, and unfortunately, I mean, you interact more, he just blames you more for not doing stuff. And really being able to overcome that with them, and it seems like there's just a lot of barriers there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So now that we're jumping into this all, I just want to remind you that we'll be having a little break in between near the end of the session, just so we can both make sure we're on the same page and get everything together. And then I'll also be taking some notes while we're talking, but they're just there to make sure we stay on the same page as well. So no worries.
Okay.
So I really like that you've been working on talking to your uncle and getting things, maybe working them out. So you were saying that the communication's been kind of rocky still though, with your observations. So has there been anything that's improved at all?
No. I mean, I feel like as my grandmother gets closer to death, it actually just gets worse.
Oh, okay.
You know, I can communicate, and then it's just a real snotty email back, or you know, I'll send him a text, and it's just really yeah, it's just super hard for me to do this, and you know, I'm the only one that cares. So.
Okay. So I'm seeing you're feeling a little bit down, is the motivation still there to keep communicating? 1 to 10, 1 being you're just done, you just want to cut off communication altogether, or 10 you're just gonna keep going until something breaks through?
Probably a 1.
Probably a 1.
Probably a 1.
You're just done.
Yeah. I mean, even though yes, my grandmother raised me, she's 83, and she's got ALS. I mean, it's just she's in and out of the hospital almost every single week. And then whenever I communicate with him about trying to figure it out, he's like, "Oh, it's just so hard for me." You know, it's like, okay, I know you don't have the same religious belief as I do or whatever, and so that definitely complicates things, and it's more demoralizing than anything to try to keep up that conversation.
Okay.
You know.
So the problem's still there with the communication, and it's just more he's just pounding you down every time you try to communicate.
Right.
Yeah.
Every time.
Every single time. Wow.
Yeah. No.
So how has this been affecting you and your family, and with all of that? How do your kids think about not being able to reach out to their great grandma?
Yeah, I mean, it does definitely impact that a little bit. You know, because my grandmother did, you know, we spent a lot of time on the farm.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to impact my children as much. You know, I mean, when we did go see her in the hospital, you know, they sat in the car for 3 hours straight. You know, because they weren't allowed into the ICU, and they weren't able to see her, you know, in her situation. But my kids have a really positive outlook on it, in the sense that, you know, they understand, you know, when you die, it's just a sleep. You know, when you love God, you know, you're going to be, you know, raised again, and those types of things. So they look at it in a chill light, you know, in that type of scenario. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems that your kids are pretty okay with it, but you mentioned that your motivation to like keep the communication going is like a 1, like you're just
Yeah.
done.
Hmm.
So what are we looking for to solve this problem? Like,
I think
what would be the goal?
probably one of them. It would be really just make it easier for my mom,
Okay.
right? So. How can I help make it easier for her, because it's obviously her mother that's going through this,
Mhm.
and then I want to be able to just make it easier for her
Yeah.
throughout this entire process.
Okay.
So, that's one of the reasons why I am still trying.
It's
Other-
very okay.
Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't care at all at this point, unfortunately.
You're doing it to like help out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Make her life easier, because eventually, I mean, it's just going to be one of these things where all of her siblings are going to be fighting together whenever my grandmother does die.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah.
So, I think now let's take a quick little thinking break just to get our
Okay.
thoughts together, and then we'll maybe try and formulate a new plan for next session. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that little break. It was really good for me to gather my thoughts. I hope you were able to as well. So now that we're back, like, what do you think our new goal should be for further sessions?
Yeah, I mean, since it's so difficult communicating with my uncle, who's like the caregiver of my grandmother, and I'm really doing it for my mom, maybe that should be what the ultimate goal is.
Okay. Maybe focus more on your mom instead. Or-
Yeah, and maybe what she needs maybe
Okay.
in the situation. I mean, while she's not down there, she's not near, near my grandmother at all. I mean, maybe that's how we deal with it.
Okay.
What do you think?
I mean, if you feel confident that would work, like maybe like a scale of 1 to 10, like not thinking it'll work, to 10 being you think it actually will have a good outcome. Where do you think this new goal maybe lies on?
Man, as a statistician, I'm gonna have to put a 5 in there.
A 5,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's just a flip of a coin, man. It's either gonna be it's gonna work, or no, it's not.
Okay.
Type of a situation. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that like you're really good at communicating, so I feel like that'll really help you with all of this. And I think that your idea with maybe opening up with mom and seeing if she has any ideas on how to make all of this work, because you're right, she does have a very like close connection with her mother.
Right.
So I think that's a very good idea for the future, and I think that's a very plausible goal. So I like it. Let's work on it.
Okay.
And I hope to see you back here next week. Does that work good for you? Same time?
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Okay.
I don't think I have anything else going, but I have to check with my wife first.
Okay. Always good.
Yeah.
Give me an email back to make sure it's all good.
Yep.
All right. Well, it was wonderful talking to you, Robert.
The pleasure's mine. Thank
All
you.
right.